Hey guys, Nick, and thanks for tuning into Long Island Wargaming for a Mordheim Tactics video. And in this video, I want to read and answer some comments from some previous videos. First up, we got the Sustainable Center just saying he's going to be doing a similar series, so that's pretty awesome, and he'll probably be doing it as he learns stuff. Next, I've got Balrog the Buff. Thanks for doing this. Have you played any Border Town Burning? I have not. Is that an expansion for Mordheim? That sounds very, very familiar. I don't think it's Empire in Flames. That's the run around the countryside one. But if you want to link me below, I know there was a few scenarios for Border Town Burning. I just never played them or followed through with them. What warbands do you typically allow? See, other than the core few. So definitely all the ones in the main book, which is like 5 or 6. That comes in the Mordheim PDF book. I actually have 2 copies of the hard book. You can only get it PDF now, or you could buy the hard copy on eBay. So besides those main ones, what else do I see? Carnival Chaos we'll play with once in a while, Beastman. Anything that's GW, like it looks straight up like a GW warband, we allow. There are the official GW ones, and then there's like the GW experimental ones, like I don't think the Twilight Elves or the Shadow Elves, I forget what they're called. The Dark Elves, the Beastmen, the Carnival Chaos. There's a few that are in the expansions. There is, off the top of my head, there's Empire in Flames and Lustria as 2 expansions, and there's just those 2 off the top of my head. The Amazonians is in Lustria, yeah. So the Lizardmen and the Amazonians and some of those ones, if it's a GW one, that's fine. The ones that you can go and find on a website that are just obviously fan-based and fan-made and overpowered and unbalanced, those ones we try to stay away from. We're using a Wood Elf one that Dave found, which is a little overpowered, but right now it's not the end of the world. Right now we're pretty okay with it. I can tell that after reading it 2 or 3 times there are some issues with it, but it's fine. In previous campaigns we've liked to done the official ones only, but you know, we'll give and take a little bit, especially if we're trying to do an interesting campaign. Not every army's in there. Okay, next question or comment. We got Kurama Smash. I picked this game up when it first came out and I never played it. Now my little girl wants to get into wargaming. Can you put out a series that would be easy for her to understand? Without sounding creepy, how old's your daughter? Is she little, young, teenager? Just shoot me a comment back, and then we can figure out a nice beginners series where I just kind of break down the rules a little bit. This way people can learn it one-on-one with the YouTube screen. So that's an option, and I'll try to keep any profanity out if your daughter is fairly young. But yeah, I'm pretty down with doing like a dumbed down, like this is what you do. You move, you attack, you use this chart. I'm down with that. It's not too hard to do. Next is Mini Zon the Sun or something. Reprinted the rulebook. I'm glad that when I put these videos out, people get reinterested, get reinvigorated with the desire to play Mordheim and war games. So that always makes me feel good. Yes, come up with questions. If you don't know what the rules mean or how to play things out, questions below. I'll be glad to help. Alright, next up we got MC1 Gamer, and he's got a nice loaded comment here, so hopefully I can give some answers. Glad you're doing this series, especially since our local group is getting so into Mordheim. It's crazy. Mordheim's popping up left and right, so I'm glad to see it's coming to be on YouTube, but also, you know, on the forums and whatnot. I love the armor penetration rule. So this rule, if you don't know, this is what we do for Long Island Wargaming Mordheim. We start -1 armor penetration at strength 5. And this is huge because it makes armor just that much more valuable. It makes daggers that much worse. And it allows you to take advantage of certain items and rules and abilities. Usually when you'd have somebody with strength 4 and an axe, there's no chance for you to use your light armor and shield, and it negates the reason for even spending that like 25 points on light armor and shield. So it makes axes a little bit better. This way that -1 helps. No character really has armor penetration until they get up to strength 5 if they can, so it's different. It also makes the critical hits of no armor save allowed also that much more useful, because before that, more often than not, There was no armor save allowed. So hopefully, if anyone wants to adopt that rule, go ahead, do it. I suggest it. It's pretty cool. So you have a summer campaign that is run by one of the store managers, but your recent campaign is just having fun. I was totally inspired by your videos, thank you, to get them to jump into a regular campaign that is now in full swing. Good. Good people, go play Mordheim. This is fun. It's fun in between Warhammer, especially when GW decides to throw everybody for a loop and put everybody in limbo of, do I like Warhammer or do I not like Warhammer? So that's where we all are right now. So go play Mordheim. I'm curious about one rule though and how you guys do it. If you lose a leader, can you buy a new one? That's a good one. So when we have done legit campaigns where we only use the core armies, the core warbands, and the core rule set, no, you cannot buy a new leader. Since we've played so many campaigns and so many games at that level, we have branched out to allow you to, yes, possibly buy a new leader. Also, you can move a leader up. As in you can use a hero that died, because once you lose your leader, and the whole point is to he's the main character. Once he dies, the warband should lose some value to you and to the other players, as much as you might have other warbands, warband members in there. But if that warband still means so much to you, then you pick a new leader. You take one of your other heroes, and there you go, new leader. So he will not be as good as the original leader, but hey, at least now you can try to get lads talent and move up. So usually that's not, the end of the world, but for some war bands it is. I know for the vampire counts you can purchase a new one because you always have to have one. Because with some war bands the caster is the main hero leader, and you need a leader and a caster. So it's a little funky. I don't know why they did that. I'm not entirely sure what the thought process behind that was. But nonetheless, we will sometimes do it where you can purchase a hero back if you don't want to move one up. It really depends on how loose or tight your gaming group is to following the written rule. So MC1 Gamer goes on to say, also, what's the deal with other heroes that are killed? 11 through 15 on the D66 chart. The regular campaign guy feels that you have to roll the 2d6 for the experience you can recruit for heroes, meaning that you need to roll quite high to fill those lost character slots or get lucky with Lads Got Talent. I don't know why he does that. I don't think that's even in the rulebook. I know that for anyone who doesn't know where the 2d6 experience comes in, when you get henchmen, when you want to recruit a henchman into a henchman group, you have to see if there's an available amount of experience. So henchmen can go up to 14 experience, I believe. So if you want to get a henchman that is at experience 5 and add him to your henchman group of 2, so you have 3 henchmen, you have to roll up that experience level or better. So if he's got experience 6, you roll up your dice. If you get 6 or better, you can buy another henchman at that level. Of course, you're going to have to buy the henchman and all the equipment so they match the same henchman group, but that's how that works. As for heroes, I don't know how that makes sense, because some heroes start at 8 experience or 12 experience or 15 experience. Maybe he's right. Because a leader will go at 20 experience, but you can't rebuy a leader specifically. So if you roll a 12, I guess you could. No, I'm pretty sure you can just rehire heroes. That's dumb. Heroes are like the liveliness of this game. You should be able to just rebuy them. So that's my thoughts. So MC1 Gamer continues to say, I've talked to the campaign guy, and while he sees this as a valid interpretation, he likes it being hardcore, and when you lose a hero, it has serious implications. Well, hardcore is cool and all, but the whole point of the game is to go fight each other, and at the end of the game, there's a 1/6 chance that your hero dies, and there's a 1/3 chance your henchman dies. So that already is hardcore enough. To not be able to buy up heroes is kind of tough. So you've already seen 4 guys reroll warbands completely because their losses were so great, and it was just more economical to start fresh with 500 gold crowns. I see that all the time too. You will have warbands that just fall apart very quickly. So that's why the creation of the warband is key. And I'll have to do a separate video on that, but stick with heroes for the first 2 to 4 games, save up your gold crowns, and then roll out a bunch of henchmen at once and then go for it. Make sure your henchmen are dying first. This way your heroes can do the dirty work in collecting objectives, killing other heroes, but also being alive at the end for exploration. Rubicon, weapons, 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 weapons. So I could do some videos on my thoughts on different weapons, combinations, and whatnot. So Rubicon's a huge fan of Mordheim. I could just tell by his enthusiasm on his comments that he sends to the Mordheim videos. So Rubicon, thank you for the support. James Wilson. I would like to see tactics advice on earlier progression so that leveling up bonuses are not wasted on skills that sound good but don't really benefit your army. So this is a pretty cool topic. It is there's a lot of room for mistakes when people try to ramp up their warband and choose certain skills or upgrades or abilities that later on end up being useless or ineffective. So I could do something on that. I'm definitely down with that. Also, is it worth using a spellcaster level upgrade to lower the cost of one spell or adopt a multiple spell, then go for an actual skill upgrade? Well, if I remember correctly, if you go for a... Oh, so you're talking about... Okay, so there's a couple ways you could do this. If your caster gets a skill, you could do a few things. There's an ability that's called, I believe, Sorcery, which just goes +1 to all casting attempts. Maybe that right off the bat you could take if you like the spell you have. The second option is take a skill and just go through the skill trees. That's fine. Pick any other skill you want besides Sorcery. And then the third option would be roll on the spell table. Now, if you roll on the spell table, you could get another spell, or if you roll the same spell again, I think you have to take that spell again at +1 or -1 difficulty. So it makes it just that much easier. So if you like the spell that you have, go for Sorcery, and then if you get another skill, maybe roll up to see if you can get another spell that you like, or maybe you get that spell better. Magna, the Bellringer, was one of my casters for a very, very long time. He had Black Fury, which I believe is an 8 to cast. He had Sorcery, which did +1, and then he got the spell again on a roll, so he actually had it on 6, which was just easy to do all the time and made him such a pain in the ass to deal with. So it's really personal preference. It depends on if you have a spell that you like or not. FYI, I'm a big fan of your videos and love the 2 campaigns you have done so far, and it actually got me into such a massive way that I have started my own campaign at my local club, and with a homemade board and scenery, it has started to attract a few other members to play. Cheers, Nick, and keep up the good work. Awesome. I'm glad you appreciate my effort, and I'm glad it's got you playing Mordheim and get it going at the local store. So MC1 Gamer's back to discuss a little bit of his strategy with his dwarves. Dwarves were my first warband. I played dwarves in Fantasy and Mordheim for a very, very long time. They're a little tough sometimes when your opponent outmaneuvers you so quickly because dwarves are so slow. But man, they're hard to kill, hard-headed, and the fact that they've got good armor and they are strong and tough, they're fun. They make it worthwhile. But anyway, MC1 Gamer also kind of mentions the same thing as James Wilson about planning out the way your warband's going to go, equipment-wise and stat-wise, because some of it you control, some of you can't. So I'll do a video on that in terms of what equipment to give which type of guy as they get their upgrades. Rowdy Rooster, big fan of the new series. What rule set do you and your group prefer, and what's your opinion on the different ones out there? And for fun, what are your favorite warbands to play with? Okay, first part. We use essentially the hard copy of the old Mordheim rulebook with a couple house rules here and there. There are some rulebooks online, like Korheim, which is a completely different game entirely, if I understand correctly, where they adjust a lot of the rules to make more sense and make them a little bit more interesting, but also adopt 7th and 8th edition rules. So that's an ever changing rule set. There's a couple of other PDFs here and there that kind of fill in the gaps where the main rulebook is missing, but for the most part I just use the simple rulebook with house rules and adaptations to make it what we want it to be. And for fun, what are your favorite warbands to play with? I did dwarves for a while. I liked them. They're fun. I didn't do the treasure hunter ones. I did 3 of the experimental ones. There's an engineer, a miners guild, and Bugman's brewery guild. So those guys I've tried out. They're a little bit different. I'm not a huge fan of the treasure hunter ones because the slayers with their lack of armor and equipment sometimes are not as useful. Although when you soup them up with the right upgrades, they can be pretty good. But I've played Norse warriors for a lot. I used to like using my marauder models and getting those guys down there. Just have good stats to start with. I believe they start with like weapon skill 4, strength 4, and then like the leader has like 2 wounds if I remember correctly. They're just good. I like those guys a lot. And then of course Pestilence and Eshin I've played with. So all right, and last one, General Torg. I would like to see some army overviews. So maybe I could do some reviews of the first, couple war bands that came out, and then expand out from there. So that's something I could definitely do. The ones I've played a lot, I can give some insight on, and the other ones I can just kind of read through and give some opinions and thoughts on. So, hey, if you guys have other questions or thoughts, throw them below, and I'll do a review on questions and comments and answers in another video. But thanks for checking out this tactics video from Mordheim, and I'll see you in the next one.